It's Pride Month.
Rainbows everywhere, guys.
That's right. And while this is a controversial topic, we're going to go here.
We're going here.
So in this video, we're going to talk about a very surprising source of hope. So the irony in this is that I'm really afraid to make this video, and this makes me sound like a neoconservative, and I'm not super conservative. I really believe in freedom. I'm okay if you don't believe like me. So I hate this video because it's so controversial, but at the same time, I am obliged to say the emperor is naked. The emperor is naked.
Welcome back to the RV Odd Couple. My name is John.
And I'm Mercedes, and long story short, we found freedom, independence, and adventure
RVing.
And now we're building a community that loves God, family, and country. Okay, guys, so obviously this is a very controversial topic. And we've been getting a lot of you guys saying that you're not getting the notifications, even though you're subscribed and signed up for notifications. And this video is probably not going to help that. So if you don't mind, if you guys could please sign up for our newsletter. That way, if we have your email, we don't send a lot of email, but if we have your email, we can make sure that you guys know when we publish a video.
Exactly.
And we don't lose touch with one another, because you never know what can happen in all the platforms.
There's a really good chance that YouTube may pull this video down. We don't know, but what we do know is this is completely against the narrative that we're supposed to be told here in America. So a few days ago, I came across a video that absolutely blew my mind. And it's Putin basically ripping the West for what we're doing. And I watched this video and I was absolutely blown away because I could not find anywhere where I disagreed with him. Being an American, I've been brought up to believe certain things about different world leaders. We've watched world leaders all over the place be taken down by the United States. We saw it in Iraq, we saw it in Afghanistan, and right now we're looking at possible World War III. So I've been studying this stuff. Now, I saw this, I got chills down my spine, you guys, when I saw this, because I've been brought up in the United States of America, right? I've been brought up to hate this guy, don't trust this guy. And I am certainly not saying the guy's a good guy. He's a dictator, he's a leader, he's a thug. I agree with all that. But when you see what he says in this video, I challenge you to listen to the whole video beginning to end, and you tell me where you disagree with him. So when I found this video, I was so blown away by it. And the last time I brought Mercedes a video,
it was torture.
She hated it. So I ended up looking at this video. I watched it 2 or 3 times, and then I made a decision that I wanted to share this with Mercedes and a few other friends, because I could not find anything that Putin says in this video that shouldn't be said by every priest, minister, pastor, politician. Any leader in this country should be saying exactly what Putin is saying in this video. Guys, we're watching this unfold right before our very eyes. And the last few years have been dystopic in our country.
You can't make this stuff up.
You can't make this stuff up. And every time you think it can't get any crazier, it does. Now, guys, I want to make it crystal clear. I am not a Putin apologist. I am not a Putin fan. I've been raised to hate Putin and Russia. Every movie that I watched coming up, Russia was the enemy. But we are on the precipice of World War III now. And in our own country, all we hear is lies. You can't believe anything the media says. So that sent me down a rabbit hole trying to find out what their side is. And it's very difficult to find videos like this because Google hides these videos, right? They censor this stuff. They don't want us to know what the competitor or the other side is thinking or saying. And I wanted to bring it to my wife, Mercedes, and show her what I had found. And when I did, what did you think?
Well, I want you guys to watch it first, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Of course, the social and cultural shocks that are taking place in the United States and the Western Europe are none of our business. We are keeping out of this. Some people in the West believe that an aggressive elimination of entire pages from their own history reverse discrimination against the majority of the interests of a minority and the demand to give up the traditional notions of mother, father, family, and even gender. They believe that all of these are the mileposts on the path towards social renewal. The advocates of so-called social progress believe they are introducing humanity to some kind of a new and better consciousness. Godspeed, hoist the flags, as we say. Go right ahead. The only thing that I want to say now is that their prescriptions are not new at all. It may come as a surprise to some people, but Russia has been there already. After the 1917 revolution, the Bolsheviks, relying on the dogmas of Marx and Engels, also said that they would change existing ways and customs. And not just political and economic ones, but the very notion of human morality and the foundations of a healthy society. The destruction of age-old values, religion, and relations between people, up to and including the total rejection of family. We had that too. Encouragement to inform on loved ones. All this was proclaimed progress and, by the way, was widely supported around the world back then and was quite fashionable, same as today. The fight for equality and against discrimination has turned into aggressive dogmatism bordering on absurdity. When the works of the great authors of the past, such as Shakespeare, are no longer taught at schools or university because their ideas are believed to be backward. The classics are declared backward and ignorant of the importance of gender or race. In Hollywood, memos are distributed about the proper storytelling and how many characters of what color or gender should be in a movie. This is even worse than the agitprop department of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Countering acts of racism is a necessary and noble cause, but the new cancel culture has turned it into reverse discrimination, that is, reverse racism. The obsessive emphasis on race is further dividing people, when the real fighters for civil rights dreamed precisely about erasing differences and refusing to divide people by skin color. I specifically asked my colleagues to find the following quote from Martin Luther King. "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by their character." This is the true value. However, things are turning out differently there. By the way, the absolute majority of Russian people do not think that the color of a person's skin or their gender is an important matter. Each of us is a human being. That is what matters. In a number of Western countries, the debate over men's and women's rights has turned into a perfect phantasmagoria. Zealots of these new approaches even go so far as to want to abolish these concepts altogether. Anyone who dares mention that men and women actually exist, which is a biological fact, risk being ostracized. Parent number 1 and parent number 2, birthing parent instead of mother and human milk, replacing breast milk, because it might upset the people who are unsure about their own gender. I repeat, this is nothing new. In the 1920s, the so-called Soviet Kulturträgers also invented some new speak, believing they were creating a new consciousness and changing values that way. Not to mention some truly monstrous things when children are taught from an early age that a boy can easily become a girl and vice versa. That is, the teachers actually impose on them a choice we all supposedly have. They do so while shutting the parents out of the process and forcing the child to make decisions that can upend their entire life. They do not even bother to consult with the child's psychologist. Is a child at this age even capable of making a decision of this kind? Calling a spade, this verges on a crime against humanity, and it's being done in the name and under the banner of progress. Well, if someone likes this, let them do it. I've already mentioned that in shaping our approaches, we will be guided by a healthy conservatism. That was a few years ago, when passions on the international arena were not yet running as high as they are now, although, of course, we can say that clouds were gathering even then. Now, when the world is going through a structural disruption, the importance of reasonable conservatism as the foundation for a political course has skyrocketed. precisely because of the multiplying risks and dangers and the fragility of the reality around us. President Vladimir Putin says that woke ideology is destroying Western civilization, condemning far-left progressivism, and compared it to Russia's darkest days during the 1917 Bolshevik Communist Revolution, in which the Soviets seized the means of production and overthrew the government. Most Western, and especially American, students are not taught about the Marxist tactics that ushered in communism and the mass death toll that inevitably comes with it. Instead, they are taught critical race theory, which is Afrocentric propaganda that is not about bringing about equality, but rather demonizing and vilifying one demographic in an effort to eradicate an existing power structure and bring about its collapse. Family values, religion, race, gender, morality, and nationalism is described as a threat.
Okay, so now that you guys have watched this video, first off, what did you disagree with? Put it in the comments below, because our goal is to have a conversation where, guess what, people? We don't all have to agree.
We don't have to agree.
What a controversy.
And in our country, we do have a First Amendment to a freedom of speech. We are allowed to say what we think. We don't have to worry about offending anybody.
But to your point, the first thing I'd like to mention is that I don't speak Russian, so I don't know how accurate this translation is. In fact, if any of you guys speak Russian, please give me your opinion below, because I'm only going off of what I think he's saying, and you know, translations are open to interpretations as well.
Well, that video has gotten 11 million views on Twitter, you guys. That's where Robert Seffer put it up. 11 million views. I've looked at as many comments as I can. Nobody challenges the authenticity of the
Translation?
Of the translation. So obviously, if what Putin is saying in this video, the translation is accurate, I have to tell you guys, I completely agree 100% with what's happening. We are looking at Marxism in our country for the past few years. Every time you think it can get crazier, it does. So I do believe that what he's saying is true, but more importantly, I believe in my heart that every church, pastor, minister, priest, politician, all of our leaders should be sounding just like Putin does in this video.
John and I don't always agree on everything. That's why we call ourselves the RV Odd Couple. So I believe in freedom, and I really believe that if your pursuit of happiness involves something that I don't believe would make me happy, that's okay.
It's fine.
And so years prior, I considered myself an ally because I could have empathy for the misery that it must be like to be in your own body and to be that miserable.
I agree.
I liken it to, you know, I identify as a 20-year-old, and I would consider altering my body with a facelift and a tummy tuck and things like that. I would consider that because, by golly, I identify as a 20-year-old, even though I'm not. And it's kind of a joking example, and I'm not trying to make light of what these people are going through. But for me, the line is drawn when we no longer have truth. And what I mean specifically is truth in biology. You need a male and a female to reproduce.
Chromosomes.
And then the language. My daughter was listening to a video on YouTube where they open the package and look at the outfit, and it was a birthday surprise themed doll. And this creator literally said the birthday person, because
you can't make this
you
stuff
can't
up.
say birthday girl or birthday boy.
Right.
So it's gotten to the point where the emperor doesn't have clothes on, and everyone's pretending like he does, and I can't sit by anymore. And so if my unwillingness to deny biology and my unwillingness to change the English language and make up words at random makes me no longer an ally, that's fine. Because ultimately, I'm thinking about the world my daughter's going to grow up in.
Exactly. We draw the line when everybody is marketing these Marxist ideas to our children. What I think Mercedes is trying to say is, I've always been okay with people doing what they want. As adults, they can do what they want. That's none of my business. Best I can do is pray for them. That's between them and God. It's not between me and them. But when you start going after our kids, when you got Fortune 500 companies marketing to our children with beautiful rainbows and butterflies and letting them know that this type of lifestyle is okay, and it's okay to defigure yourself or change your sex. That's where I draw the line. Absolutely draw the line. I will not support any company that does that.
Well, and the rainbow is beautiful.
It's God's rainbow.
And my kid loves rainbows. And it's so cool when you see a rainbow after a storm. And so to think that this beautiful symbol, you know, fine, it means pride, that's fine. But what kind of pride does it mean? For some, it means pride of identity and altering their identity and whatever. That's fine, live your life. But I think that the rainbow needs to be a symbol that I think that conservative Christians might want to consider taking back. And they should show some pride too. And just as loudly as some people are shouting to the rooftops, why are conservative Christians being quiet?
Right. We've been shamed into silence, and this has been going on for decades now, you guys. They have shamed us into silence. And there has to be somebody out there with some courage to speak up about what we believe. We believe in the 10 Commandments. We believe in God. Okay? And the founders that founded our country believed and gave all the credit and glory to God. They knew when they signed that Declaration of Independence, they were signing their death certificate. They knew that Britain was going to come after them with all their might. But they made a covenant with God that if they lived by the Bible and the New Testament, that God would take care of the rest. And that's how this country was founded. Now they're going after our education system. They're destroying our morals.
The irony in this is that I'm really afraid to make this video, and this makes me sound like a neoconservative, and I'm not super conservative. I really believe in freedom. I'm okay if you don't believe like me. I don't care if you believe the same way I believe religiously. I believe that we all have a right to find our path. But I can't deny science. I can't deny certain basic things that are true. Like, there's a fundamental difference between men and women. And when we start using words like birthday person or people who menstruate or people who give birth, I mean,
Birthing person, that's not real. And actually, I think it's done more harm to women, because what makes us special, what makes us unique, is really being stripped away from us. And then when it comes to sports and different areas that women have fought so hard to have a space in, that it's being taken from us. And so that's where I really get passionate, because I have a daughter and I want her to be able to play sports in school safely. I want her to have a place where, you know, what makes her a woman and what makes her her is celebrated, not something that she needs to pretend isn't real because a man can usurp it at any moment. So I hate this video because it's so controversial, but at the same time, I am obliged to say the emperor is naked. The emperor is naked. So we have a Supreme Court justice that cannot define a woman. And then we have, what's the guy, Matt Walsh or something, that's like, what's a woman? Yeah.
I mean,
you can't make this stuff up.
This poor person like really needs help. And let me help you right here. A woman has an XX chromosome, okay? Women have the biology to hold a child, okay? The biology doesn't always work, and I'm not saying that a woman has to be a mother. You may or may not be a mother as a woman, but our biology is designed to be a mother, and we have XX chromosomes. That makes us a woman, period, end of story.
End of story. In our country today, we give our fallen heroes one day, and we give immorality and indecency 30 full days. So what can we do to combat it? We don't want to be against anything. We want to be for something.
So what we're going to do is that on the Twitter platform every day for the next 30 days, we're going to take back the rainbow. We're going to talk about things like purity and God and orderliness. And I know you're all jumping for joy. Yay, that sounds like so much fun. No, because if you've ever been on a spiritual journey, you know that these things involve a lot of work. And the more you search for something like that, that's a lot of soul searching, and it's not easy to do that. But our goal is that on the Twitter platform, we could start to have conversations and take the pride back, take the rainbow back. But I want to talk about what we're for, because the rainbow is a promise, and the rainbow is beautiful, and it's a natural phenomena that has all of the colors. How crazy is that? That's amazing. It's beautiful.
It's God's rainbow.
And it always happens after a storm, right? So the symbolism there is undeniable. So our hope is that you sign up for the newsletter, because we may lose you. And then also that you guys can follow us on Twitter, because we also want to do a quick video on it. But I think that that platform might welcome this kind of a conversation more than YouTube will.
What we want to do is bring light to the darkness, and we're going to share one Bible verse every single day on our Twitter channel. It'll be a 2, 3, 4, maybe a 5-minute video reciting a verse from the Bible and sharing a little bit about what that Bible verse means to us. We don't want to be against anything. We are taught to love everyone, but we can love the person, not their deeds. The last 3 years, we've all lived through this. We don't have to tell you. It has been dystopic. It's been crazy. Every time you don't think it's getting any crazier, it does.
So you can imagine our surprise to hear from what's supposed to be an enemy of the state, our biggest geopolitical threat, is saying something that actually doesn't sound that crazy at all.
We agree.
This enemy of the state sounds more American than Americans do.
It's sad. It's really sad. I'm praying
And getting close to God. I think that's where
digging into the Bible.
Well, and finding out for yourself. I like the idea of people digging into the Bible themselves rather than someone telling you what it means.
100%.
And so I think that we all need to be searching. I think we need to be seeking through history, looking at the Bible.
I'm praying that God's will be done. And remember, God wins this thing. This is not a battle of flesh and blood. This is a spiritual battle. And the way we win it is to get ourselves closer to God. And here at Thunder Canyon is becoming ground zero for what we hope to be a revival in our country. Starting next month, Mercedes and I are going to start classes here at Thunder Canyon Camp Gratitude, and we're going to be studying the Forefathers Monument, our Forefathers Monument. See, what a lot of people don't realize is our founders left us a blueprint. They knew that power would eventually take over, and they gave us a blueprint explaining to us how to find our way back to liberty, because we do not have liberty in our country anymore. So please sign up for our newsletter, come over to our Twitter, watch what we do, and we're going to probably make every mistake in the book, but as always, you'll never have to guess what we're thinking, because we'll always tell you. And I believe that it's time in this country's history for us to come back together again, circle the wagons, and help each other remember where we came from. A place of morality, a place of education, a place of law, which doesn't pick and choose favorites, and ultimately liberty. Our hope is that you'll pray with us, you'll come visit us here at Thunder Canyon, and help us grow whatever God has planned for all of us. And we'll see you in the next video.